Principle of Indravan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Siddharam, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve, Old Year's Night, as we say in Trinidad. On this occasion of the eve of our calendar New Year, I wanted to spend this time doing meaningful discourse, answering some questions, having a little conversation with you as we get ready to start our new calendar. Earlier today and yesterday, I got some messages with some questions that I wanted to deal with, to shed some light on, and we'll do that in the course of tonight, in the perspective of our discourse and our text. As we get set to go into our text this evening, I invite you to spend a little time with me as we think about God and His discourse, so we prepare ourselves for what is coming. And I'll shed some light on that as well. For now, I was humming the song Hold and I wanted to sing this song with you. When I was small, it was the easiest bhajan and still one of my favorite, as we chant the name of Ganesh Baba. Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh. You know the nice part about that bhajan? It's so simple, and even if you're home and you have a croaky voice like mine, you could afford to sing this one. Sing a little bit with me as we celebrate Ganesh Baba, and then we'll go further. Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh, Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh, Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Let's now spend the time to say our opening mantras. As you put your mind to God, close your eyes wherever you are. If you're on the job, safely do so. If you're watching me on your phone or wherever your device is, as best as you could, just for a second, let's think and pray to God. Ganesh Baba first, remover of all obstacles and problems. Ganapati Baba, may you please accept my prayer tonight. May you bless me as I listen to discourse, but at some point tonight we're going to talk about you, Ganapati Baba. Help me to understand that tidbit of knowledge that is coming. Help me to remember your glory and, O remover, Vigneshwar, remover of obstacles and problems. Some of us are already in the new year in the world, some coming. Where we are, it's coming in Trinidad. May you please bless us with the safety and protection that we need in this new calendar that is coming. Om Gajananam Bhutaghanadisevitam Kapet Jambu Palachara Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam. Let's think of Durga Mata. Devi, may you please accept my homage tonight as I salute you, I bow to you, and I offer you the gratitude for this year that has gone, and I pray for a peaceful, healthy, happy year to come. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Guru Brahma. Remember your Guruji, remember your mother, your father. In tonight's discourse, you'll hear a little bit about that. Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Dear Lord, tonight remember our gurus, Vidya Guru, Diksha Guru, all gurus, all. Prabhu, school is getting ready to reopen. New Year is coming. Bless us and bless these children to be safe in this school. Bless parents to have confidence and trust in their children. In this year coming, as these children are growing, as we are all growing, bless us to grow up, to mature, to be better boys and girls. Bless the children, the grandchildren to do well in school, to be healthy and safe from criminal activity. Dear Lord, there are parents that will be sending them off in their vehicles, in the taxis, maxis, whatever school bus it have. Bless them to go safe, stay safe, and come back home safe. Bless them to be honest. Bless these children to understand the word integrity. Please give parents the help to understand them, the kids, and the language they need to talk in to penetrate their mind and send the message of right and wrong. Please bless these children, wherever they may be, dear Lord. Collectively we pray today, whether they're at a distance or they're close by, to have your personal protection. Whether the enemy is their own thoughts, the friends that they keep, the things that they're endeavoring into, or external factor, like a car accident, or a disease, or some enemy, dear Lord. Hanuman Swami, please protect them. Dear Lord, protect them. Dear God, bless the teachers, bless the parents, bless the gurus, in whichever form, whichever hat they wear, that they continue to do to enrich the lives of these children as best as they could. Wearing their different hats, the music teacher, the dance teacher, the football coach, whichever one they are, give them the strength, their own happiness in their family life, so that they could continue to endeavor for our children's benefit. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham bande paramanandam madhavam. Brahma Murari Shri Purantakari Bhanu Shashi Bhumi Suto Buddhascha Gurur Shukra Shani Rahu Ketava Sarve Grashanti Kara Bhavantu. Dear Lord, in the form of Surya and Ninagraha, in these unsafe, in these very dangerous times, may you please protect our family, our circle, our district, village, community, however you call it. May you continue to bestow your choices, blessings upon each and every one of us. Dear Lord, Our calendar is about to change. Please bless us to have good year, good time, healthy time, happy time. For those people that are undergoing different type of surgeries, different procedures, different things to overcome this coming year, please bless us to get a date, save the date. Please bless us to have a good team working with us and allow all procedures to be successful. Dear Lord, please bless those people that are recuperating from such procedures, that their body retain the strength to heal, recuperate, and come back. Dear Lord, there are many people fighting different disease, mental, physical, spiritual problems. Give them the strength spiritually to conquer all forms of enemy that are plaguing each and every person's life in whichever form. Thank you for the time tonight. As we spend this time listening to your discourse, dear Lord, help me to remember, help me to learn, and help me to understand. Prem Sabalavindra Van Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Siddharam, everybody again. If you came in late, we're just about starting. And tonight I wanted to read for you, based on some of the questions I got, I wanted to touch on, I was thinking about knowledge because of the question. There are some things that we have to answer. And with the coming of the new year, as I said before, there are some people viewing that are already in the new year. People in India have different pujas, people in, that side of the earth already celebrating. If you look at your television, I'm sure you could see a lot of fireworks going off all over the world. And we'll be there shortly here in the West Indies. But somebody called me earlier and said, Pandit, I'm not seeing the Hindu method for celebrating January 1st. January 1st. How does a Hindu celebrate January 1st? So then I started to think about that. And in it, there's an explanation why there's no fixed procedure. And we'll talk on that tonight. That highlights something that Hindu people regularly do. We see other people doing things and we want to do it in a nutshell. And tonight we'll highlight a little bit about that with the backdrop of our Bhagavad-gita. Tonight permit me to read about Gita and some of the things that we do. Somebody asked me, I've heard about Kali Yuga, but I don't know what that would mean. For children to understand, Pandit, could you elaborate? Could you, just go into that a little bit about what is Kali Yuga? Why is it relevant? Why do we banter about this word? Is it dealt with in our text? Thank you. Is it dealt with in our text? So tonight we're going to read about those things. And then in the mahatyam, coming from Skand Puran, in the mahatyam of the Bhagavad-gita, tonight you will hear about the benefit if you read what we're going to read, which is more or less this is chapter 4 of Bhagavad-gita. Because in the mahatyam of the Bhagavad-gita, he talks about, there was some, and I'll just, reference it now. There were some girls that did some lewd acts, sexual acts, and it was, no modesty. And the repercussion of that action was they were cursed to become trees. Now on Facebook, I believe the person is the Sri Ishwarama site. Anybody could go and look up. They usually present a very good, and I endorse what they do, very good information about our Dharma and some wonderful videos, little things that might pop and catch the younger person's attention. So somebody says, don't ever offer Ganesh Baba Tulsi in one of their posts. So in the comments, somebody brought it to my attention that people were, barring and you don't know what you're talking about. One person says, Lord Vishnu endorses the Tulsi, which he does. So where, in what text, in not a person, what text, what reference, where does it say this, what you're quoting? And tonight again, I'm referring knowledge, not calling anybody's name, please, that's not the intention. I'm saying this for everybody to understand. Knowledge is what is going to bring the good that we are looking for. Everybody, you know, we hear people, oh my God, things are so hard and it's only getting harder. And you know, I'm getting sick and sicklier, as a word. And why? Why does it have to be like that? Many people are going into next year, and whilst there are people that are celebrating with fireworks and, you know, in different parts of the world, different delicacies and all that, there are a lot of people that don't know how the next meal is coming. There are a lot of people that don't know, you know, if we'll see certain members of the family because they're ill. In America, for example, people are begging the government to put legislation to see if they could make diabetic medicine, insulin, forget the name or the brand, insulin, to make it a little more regulated and a little more price fixed so that people could afford their medication. We live in a world that many people have to choose. Do I take my tablet today, or I will hold back to ration my tablet because of the cost in different parts of the world? Some people are watching what is developing in the eastern side of the world with COVID, and it's becoming a little alarming. We don't want to deal with it, I agree. Who wants to go back to, you know, 2020, 2021? But then think about the possibility of it, you know, coming back. Next year looks scary. So one of my thoughts this morning as I was talking to our goddaughter was, why do bad things happen to good people? Tonight, let's begin with this. New Year. But if you look at it, I'm afraid what the grocery will be, what the electrical bill will be. I'm afraid of what the sickness will be. I'm afraid if I have to go to the hospital for one problem, I might end up with another problem. It's a lot of risk, a lot of bad. Why are things this way? In the Christian faith, you hear that God has made man in his image. That man is superior in conscious decision, unconscious reflex action, you know. Let's say the ability to make adrenaline that gives the person sometimes superhuman strength to lift something off a child that is pinned under something heavy, for example, or to run to evade a bandit or something like that. You have the ability to do great things. And that is very true. I agree with that statement. Human beings have the capacity, not everybody, but we as a race, as a species, we have this innate ability to do great things. Every time I go to somebody's home to do puja and the child is playing with the smartphone or the child is perusing YouTube with the finger, little finger, going like that, who taught you that? Who taught you in my times to program, maybe children today would know what a VCR is, to program the VCR controller, know how to start, stop, play, whatsoever. Just a simple example, but in many instances, you see, you know, who taught you that? Who gave you that? A young child is speaking and the child says, well, actually, Baba, actually. Who you know about actually? Who taught you that word? And you see it in many instances. But then, bear with me, we also see children born with, and I'm saying children, of course adults have challenges too, children born with one eye, children born without the ability to speak, or hear, or walk, or see because of cognitive deficiencies, challenges, differently able, specially abled individuals that might never speak or have a conversation, etc. Get married, have children, adults that are not able to have children. Different things happen. And these tough times, tough situations, make a person, correct me if I'm wrong, why God let this happen? If God made me in his image, why am I not perfect? I am not perfect. Do we agree? Anybody could have a heart problem, diabetic problem, spleen problem, blood problem, genetic problem, a problem, glasses problem, get a virus problem, deficiencies, inefficiencies in the body. How come? The Hindu, at least, explain that via the word karma. Karma is the explanation for the flaws of our body and life. For example, God made the person, but this person is made with the ability to have seizures or epilepsy, epileptic shock or epileptic seizure. Well, let's go further than that. Schizophrenia, split personalities, suicide tendencies, suicidal thoughts, addiction, different issues. God made me that way. Or it allowed, if God is in charge, as some people say, right? If God is in charge, how come I have this problem? I have this issue, some addiction, and I'm helpless. I feel like I'm trapped. Karma. And I'm just listing one, just to be on the same page with you. Garud Puran, Pratmanjali is where I'm quoting. Lord Vishnu is speaking to Garud. And he says, if the person in this life, when things are good, takes their tongue and abuse the guru, meaning the person who gives the mantra, the pundit, or the parent, the mother, the father, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, or the school teacher, with their tongue, I know more than you, so I could talk in a dung, beat you then, with words and speak to your outer turn, disrespectful, however you want to describe it. In your next life, you will be born epileptic. The brain, you're talking and you reach that point, and then the brain, like somebody shoots electrical voltage, the waves, to shock the person goes through a tremor, not to make light of the moment, but for somebody who doesn't have a relative or a child in this scenario, you would never appreciate the pain to watch, and you cannot help when somebody biting their tongue, garnishing their gum, breaking their teeth, messing themselves, the shame associated. Forget what people say. Forget what people say. Forget that. That is, somebody is sick. Let's say a baby messed herself. It don't matter what people say, it's a baby. But when it's an adult that has a medical condition and they're in this way now, they themselves feel shame or ashamed of what they are doing. But they are helpless. Sometimes stress, sometimes if they don't take their meds, sometimes the moon trigger a person. Sometimes the cell phone, the magnetism from the moon and the magnetic waves of the full moon that interfere with people's brain, the same magnet exists in the phone and cause problems. Different things trigger a person without warning. And what was a hard part, I can't remember my last life. I don't know I made that mistake, but in this life, I know I have this way, I have this tendency. If I stay on my phone for a 2-hour conversation and I have this tendency to get seizures, book it. By tonight, I might start to talk different and then it's going to come on. Different people, different warning, different triggers, right? Work with me. The person is hurt. The person is, distraught. They're vexed with themselves. Think about, you're getting married to somebody or in a relationship. Or, hon, I have to be honest with you. I am like this. I have this problem. I have this medical issue. It's in my family. And it's there. Not every person is going to say, all right, no problem. I accept, I'm going to be committed, and I'm going to stand with you through the ups and downs, through the hills and the valleys of this sickness. And I'm going to see you, through. I'll make sure and give you your meds. And the day you mess yourself, I'll be the one to mop up the floor. Don't worry. Not everybody has that. So many people who have like this and other disease, other challenges, sometimes don't have the normal existence that a healthy 100% individual might have. Think about somebody who can't talk or can't hear or they can't write. Somebody who has autism and they're faced with this challenge. Is not only the challenge that health will bring, but the social challenge that also exists. It's a horrible thing. I'm not in control of my existence in some sense. Karma is so bad. Karma is very bad. Karma is very bad. Because it brings about, yes, we know karma by definition. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every good, it have a blessing. But for every bad, it have a punishment. Agreed. That is what some people still would say. This is what makes this here, our existence, the heaven or the hell, depending on how you lived your past. Let's enter, to build on this point, let's enter into chapter 4. As the same type of talk is about to happen here. Please listen. It will help you understand where I'm going. Verse 1, chapter 4. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Nama Imam Vishwavarte Yogam Prokta Vanaham Vyayam Vishvasvan Manave Praha Manur Ishvakeva Abravet Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Nama. This is verse 1. Vrindavan Vihari Lala Ki Jai. I taught, Arjun, Krishna is speaking to Arjun, this is chapter 4 again. I taught all this yogic science, all that we've been talking so far, to Vishwavan, who shared it with Manu like his son, and Manu shared it with his son Ishwaku. This supreme science in this way was handed down from king to king, constantly in our tradition. But Arjun, in time, as time passed, maybe somebody didn't have a son or the family line stopped, but this yogic science was lost. Today, that same science, I am revealing it to you. We're moving on to verse 3. Because you are my friend and a devotee, you are qualified to listen to this secret science now. Please listen and understand. Arjuna in verse 4, he says, how is it possible? You are standing in front of me. Please listen to where they are. Follow me. How is it possible? You are speaking to me here. You are my equal. We grew up as friends. You are here with me now. Bhagavad-gita, in the Bhishma Parva. All this is Mahabharata. In side number 7, there is one section, one chapter called Bhishma Parva. Inside Bhishma Parva, it has one section that is called Bhagavad-gita Parva. That is this Gita book that you and I know about. One little piece of this. He says, prior to that, let's say we did in 7, we come straight to number 3, volume 3. All the time we was friends. You know when I was going to get married, you know when my brother and me to get sent in the, bhajan, when we was hiding in the forest, different things happening in the history of us. We have built a friendship based on all these different things. How are you telling me you was teaching my great, 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 great grandfather? How is that possible? And in a very confused tone, how is it that you could be teaching Vishvasvan, who was born a long, very long time ago? Listen to verse 5. O destroyer of enemies, you and I have taken many births before. The difference is, I remember them all, whereas you do not. Verse 5. The history, the continuity of time. In some faith, we are born, we serve our time, and then we either go to heaven or hell, and it is as if the story stops. And this is where many people ask, so what's the purpose of life? If God is there and God has created everything, what is the purpose? The Hindu perspective is, in the time that we have, we are making good and bad deeds, actions, and choices, and we are trying to find God, to rid ourselves of the hold that bad karma has upon us. Bad karma causes bad things to happen to good people and traps you in this born and death that Lord Krishna is talking about here. I am the controller of all beings. I am birthless. I am eternal. I appear in this material world with the powers that I have. You know the next verse. Whenever, yada hi dharmasya, whenever there is gross decline in righteous activity or dharma, and adharma or adharmic lifestyle choices start to rise. Dharma is good behavior, adharma bad behavior for children. To understand, I appear myself, O Arjuna. Verse 8. I appear in every millennium or in every yuga to protect pious people, to destroy wicked people, and to bring back a balance, an equilibrium, as it were, in the Dharma, Adharma equation. To bring back or to re-establish Dharma, to make Dharma more possible. I was watching a video today about, the passing of the Black Stalin, the Calypsonian, and the writer in the article, the reporter, listed that in 1983, the murder rate in Trinidad was 97 for that year. And it was really bad, and he sung this wonderful song, which I cannot remember right now, about these harsh times, these bad times. Think about having how many? I think it's 600, I'm not sure. You could correct me. Just somebody send a post, send me something. If I'm mistaken, I apologize. But I believe Trinidad's murder rate, is 600. Re-establish Dharma. Oh Arjun, that person reaches my spiritual abode and never takes birth again in this world if he sees divinity in my birth, in my leelas, in my activity, in my teachings. That person comes to me. Let's pause on the Gita to answer the question about Kali Yuga. We go to, this is Skand, for the persons that are looking for the reference. Please listen carefully, write it down so we don't have to go through this again. Skand 12, chapter 2 of the Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran. Parikshit is listening to Sukdev Goswami, and Sukdev Goswami is talking about what 611, my son corrected, my God. Think about that. Just 1 second there. Listen to this. Sukdev Goswami is describing to him, Kali Yuga is coming. If Krishna leaves, There's a verse 31. While the Lord of Lakshmi's foot is touching the earth, that lotus-like feet will never allow Kali Yuga, the dark age, not Kali Mata. This has nothing to do with that lady. Leave she out of this. Kali Yuga is dark. Kala is darkness. The dark age is coming. Once Krishna's foot, Vishnu's foot is upon the earth, Kali Yuga cannot encroach, cannot come and take the earth, O Parikshit. But in the moment when Mag was in the sky, the moment Krishna left this earth, when what is called the mahatyam, which is, we have to touch that tonight, the mahatyam of the Bhagavad-gita is read. When Krishna goes into the Yamuna and he ascends to Vaikuntha, at that moment Kali Yuga begins. And it lasts for 432,000 years, human years, or for 1200 celestial or Brahma days. Celestial years, you might say. At the very moment, verse 34, at the very day, the very hour, Krishna retires to his region of Golok, Kali Yuga started then. Remember, the person who is listening to this piece of the Bhagavad is Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit is the grandson of Arjun. So time, think about the chronological order of Bhagavad-gita speaking to Arjun, and Bhagavad Puran is the grandson of Arjun listening to it. So the concept of time is there. First verse as we go, day after day, under the force of power of time, righteousness, truthfulness, purity, physical and mental purity of people, forbearance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, sharpness of memory, these things are what will be destroyed in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, wealth alone is the deciding factor. If a person is noble, you hear about this. Boy goes to see girl, where he working? Oh, he's an engineer. Oh, he's a good boy. That's a good match for that girl. That is it. She'll be happy. No matter his character. Nobody says, oh, he's a poor guy, but he's very truthful. He's a good guy for that girl. He doesn't drink liquor. He's not violent. He has a calm demeanor. That is out the door. Once the boy, and I'm using the boy as an example, once the boy has that money or the job or the idea that maybe business or whatsoever, he's noble because he has the money. But do you really analyze the character? Too often, maybe it does happen in some families, but the majority of the time nowadays, too often, people gauge people by these things, and then after, in the marriage, and trouble starts to rear, as pundits, we're called in to help pundit what to do. I never know he was like this. So what did you know, is the question. Righteousness of behavior or merit, these things have nothing. Only brute force will be the only standard in making somebody righteous or a decision maker. In fact, it says here, things like family pedigree, who was your father, you know, in Indian Dharma, people would ask, who's your father, who's your grandfather, where you come from? We don't bother with that anymore. Only the boy and the girl will be the criteria for selecting a life partner. Cheating in business is the order of the day in Kali Yuga. Satisfaction of sexual pleasure is the only consideration of the male and the female. Whether worthiness of becoming a partner is not about their temperament, their pedigree, their family life, only satisfying that sexual desire, the lust, and he talks about that in chapter 3 of Gita, is the only thing people are looking at. It is as if the population of the earth becomes very perverse. While sexuality is important, is it really supposed to be the only criteria. Once this person could fulfill this, that's it. Their culture, their health, maybe their genetics from that perspective, if we talk about family pedigree, their religion, thinking in terms of what will the children follow. And now, let me touch on that. Because this is a very sensitive topic. There are many people who have different religion coming together to make a home. In many homes, it causes problems, as you could imagine. And one of the tidbits that come from parents like that, oh, so what will the children, what religion will they follow? Oh, when they have age, they will choose. And that is a two-sided sword, because yes, I agree, people choose when you become of age, an adult, to make cognitive, conscious decision, and that is one way. But the other side, and the role of religion in a person's life, is to also gauge the individual, to guide them in their formative years in terms of morality, spirituality, modesty, and other life choices. You know, basically, everybody wants to be on the good list because Santa Claus is watching, checking it twice. So if somebody's checking on you and watching your every activity, some say Santa, some say God, it's important to be a good boy or a good girl to help corral children from making poor decisions. If I were to leave that now till they are 18 years old to make that decision, if they choose to do it, at 18 years old, they may not listen to the priest, imam, or pundit the same way they might listen when they're 5, 6 years old, when they're developing their ideas of life and this world. The other point I would like to make on that, children depend on parenting, and they depend on parents to make decisions that are for their best development, for the best, welfare, while they are in their formative age. So, for example, just to raise this point, child needs vaccine, the booster and all the different things we give them when they're now born and all that. You know them, I don't. I have never heard a parent say, stable parent, when they are 18 years old, I will let the children choose which vaccines to get. At that time, it could cause problems. Let's say polio, whatsoever. There are many others, I'm sure. Sometimes decisions are time sensitive. Time sensitive. And the parent has to make decisions for the child. So children don't get to choose what vaccine they get when they're children. Parents make that decision based on maybe the regulation or what the school requires, whatsoever. The parent chooses also the type of nestum or milk to give the child the best health, the type of school, the type of examples. The parent is the one who's making this decision. So when the text talk about family pedigree, what type of home did they come from? What religion, what moral, what ethics do they believe in? These things are supposed to be considered if you are planning this is for the rest of your life. So when you don't consider these things, what will happen? You'll reach to a point where you realize, I got married to somebody and I didn't know you were like this. I didn't know you thought like this. I didn't know this is how you conduct yourself. And you know what? I can't put up with it. I can't live with it. And you reach to the point where there's a high divorce rate, like what we see today. Because I didn't know you. Hindus talk about checking and consulting the book and checking the different methods. I will tell you, will it have cheating? Will it have children? Will it have happiness? Will they talk, consult, grow to love one another, or fight like cat and dog? Will they feel, when you're talking about tarragon, the person could be opposite you, you're watching the person across the room, and you see their face pundit, I mean, you're ready to go. It's as if I know you from a different birth, long time. Different ways that you could make an informed decision. Imagine I went to buy a car. Watch how we crazy. Watch one feature of Kali Yuga that we are understanding very well. Just an example. If I go to buy a car and pundit says, oh, it look good, and never raise up the bonnet. Never raise up the bonnet to see the engine, to ask about the mileage or any other example. You can imagine, buy the car based on looks. You can say, pundit, you crazy. You is a madman. Find out who they own the car. Find out what this car going through, reflecting in the mileage, you know, the wear and tear of the vehicle. Find out which, maybe a Nissan better than a Toyota. I could imagine I'll get pong in the comments for that. What make, model, was it a good year? All your research, find out. You know, and when long time people used to do wedding and the Sokochar part was being chanted, this person, son of so-and-so, grandson of so-and-so, from so-and-so village, and they would list out, brother. When they would send Neuta to, you know, all these things, they would say that long time thing upon it. But, okay, let me switch the examples. A car, going and choose somebody for the rest of my life. And it looked nice, it looked good. It looked good. Then after to realize you can't cook a roti to save its life, or how to rear children, or how to respect your mother or father, as a boy is saying it, you might have a little problem. As a woman, you have violence, you have cheating, you have different issues, then you might have a problem. It says in Kali Yuga, this example, people will walk away from these type of status type inquiries, social inquiries that would guide them to make an educated decision. Educated decision. I'm not only basing it on sexual, appeal or sexual gratification, but to go beyond that, to see the qualities of the person. In this age, the nature of a person is not going, let's say the Brahman or the Pandit that I'm going to select to guide my children or guide my family in different rituals, is not going to be based on the knowledge, Vedic, Sastric, their behavior. It's only be once a wearing a string around the chest. I am quoting verse 3, chapter 2, Skand 12 of Bhagavad Puran. Once they have a string around the chest, they could have what behavior? They could, no prayers, don't know prayers, never did a vow, never did vrat, never did anything. They are selected as the person to guide my soul in this life and in the next. External marks, the activities of these people, it does not matter. Spiritually weak individuals, people that are very weak in terms of spiritual knowledge, they will become the leaders and they will become the popular ones. And you will even hear people say, he is my guru, he is my guide, he is my consultant, because he is popular. And the person does that knowing you are saying, you may not be knowledgeable, you may not be, you're telling me to say the prayers, but you don't say the prayers. You don't know about the vrat or nothing, you know. But you're like a parrot, you're repeating it, you're telling me to say it, but you really don't know it per se. And I know that. I, as the person making the choice for this individual to guide me, see these shortcomings, but enjoy the fact that the person becomes very malleable. In our text, it's very straightforward. Do this and you will get that. But it is as if now these scholars know so much that they could flex the activity and expect that I can play on the same karma says for every action there's an equal opposite reaction. So this has to be a fixed type of action. But what we exist today in Kali Yuga, the scholar tells the person, well, all right, if you fast properly, don't worry, you're going to do it halfway, but you'll get the same outcome. Let me go again. Yeah, bound to offer flowers in the prayers, simple example, but you'll get the same outcome. See the chain up in that? See the fallacy? You see any fake in it? Don't worry. However you do the prayers, you don't have to have gobar. You don't have to have mud. You don't even have to have tulsi leaf. But you'll get the same outcome. Don't worry. And people buy that lock, stock, and barrel. Kali Yuga. The wand of affluency will be the cause of people losing their name, their character, their modesty, their goodness. All that matters to get married no longer is about getting parental permission or support. It's just about boy and girl agree and get married. I love this one. I don't know how this operates with you, but I remember my nephew in this point, Nandi's son Sachin. I remember some children at our age, they want to bathe in the morning, they want to bathe in the evening, and laziness, etc. Only. And going to the toilet, verse 5, going to the toilet, cleansing, your normal number 1, number 2, is a substitute for bathing. Remember, as a Hindu, bathing has a lot to do with our Dharma. We are always washing hands, sipping water, cleansing, sprinkling the water with the pundit, and then the physical bath. Go to any Tirat site in India, and you will see a ghat always attached to the temple. Wherever the mandir ashram is, there always a place for people to have a bath before they endeavor into worship. People will go, distant places of sacred waters, pilgrimage, prayers, yatra, but they will abstain from preaching and teaching and listening to the preceptor, the guru, or the elders with love. They would leave off and bad treat the God in their house, but they will go looking for God in stone and metal and caves and mountains all over the world. And in that, full the head that, there, now I am saved, I am good. Maintenance of one's family will be looked upon as a skill. Not that is your job or your duty. It'll be something to boast about. Something to lament. Something to brag in a, I always just go and pay the bills. And this is a hardship that you are endeavoring into. When in fact, your duty, as he says in Gita, your duty is your duty. Vrindavan Bihari Lala ki jai. And he goes on to talk about the shortening of man's lifespan to 50 years. He says it in verse 12. In Kali Yuga, a person's lifespan will cut down maximum age to 50 years old. People will be tormented by hunger, thirst, disease, and overpowered by an alarming amount of anxiety and anxiousness that cause people to turn to frivolous and different types of ways to overcome the anxiety. People take pills now, drugs, fentanyl in North America. It is killing people. People are dying from different forms of tobacco, different types of alcohol, different types of oils are being used to curb the fears, the phobia, what is making me panic for sexual problems. People are using drugs to curb certain inefficiencies in their body. Not because of need due to a disease, but I need it. I can't think, I can't function, I cannot focus. I need that. In this time, there will be drought, pay attention, drought, famine, heavy taxation. There will be excessive cold, biting winds, blistering sunshine, downpours and downpours of rain, super snowfall, mutual rivalry and fighting amongst people. Verse 10. Those examples of calamity, maybe in today's world we say climate change, maybe we use words like war, invasion, but you see the financial problems, what we're talking about, the fall in currencies, cryptocurrency taking people money, people lost a lot in the stock market, in the real estate market. People can't, they wake up, one night you went to sleep with your mortgage payment here, next morning you wake up here. Different things are happening that is bringing burden, worries, anxiety, stress, sickness, suicidal thoughts to people. In this way, in this Kali Yuga, he says, this brings about for all the Varna, for all the castes, depending on your age, there is going to be a problem for each one of us. He says there are medicinal herbs that could help people with sickness. But soon, the trees start to get smaller. In some places where there's less and less water, the trees will be destroyed. And the herbs that could help via discourse with Devi Mata, where she's in the need plant, for example, and if you use the herbs around us, you could alleviate some of the problems. But if those herbs go out of season permanently, what are we going to do? Where will the medicine come from? When the medicine becomes hard to get, how will you survive? Suppose I live in a place or I live in a country where it is just not available. It's not that I don't want the medicine, I just can't get any. Think back when we were clamoring to get a vaccine. And some countries hoarded the vaccine for their people, and other people were begging to get some. But we are all equal. Strange enough. In this way, he then says, somewhere in... He says, at the end of Kali Yuga, by the instruction of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, he takes the form, well, the next one he will come as Kalki. He takes the form as the avatar. He says, where, one day I'll read this entire thing for you, don't worry. In the house of, oh, wait there, man. In the house of a Brahman that lives in a place called Shambhala, he will come riding a white horse, and he will remove the ills, the pain, the punishment that this Kali Yuga is doing. Excuse. He will bring an end to this punishment, and Satyuga will restart. It will continue. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, those traits of Kali Yuga, you will agree with me, different parts of Europe saw, for example, the hottest day in this year, but also the overall season of summer. When we were reading Yoga in North America this year, I traveled many times, but I've never felt heat in places that could have been cooler. Never felt heat like that. India this year, in some parts of Delhi, had up to 48, 49 degrees. But then flip. Look at Buffalo tonight in New York. Very bad snowstorm last year. Texas and their snow and their weather, the weather patterns is as if it is going out of sync. Different parts of the world, the homes are not prepared for the troubles that are coming. Simple in Trinidad, with the flooding and the constant rain that we hear about in our text. It's so funny that you're seeing it happen in front of your eyes. Going back to verse 10 in Bhagavad-gita, it shows that in this time, it is as if you were born to live in Kali Yuga. You and I have some very bad karma, because we get to live in a time the people are attacking one another. There's war, there's racial, there's gender and sexual problems, because people hate you for different things. Your surname in some places, where people ostracize people for their caste, or if you live from a district in America, they might have gang wars in different parts. If you're from that area, don't come here. You're labeled very bad. You're a bad person because you live there. People are discriminated for the color of their skin, texture of their hair. You name it, it exists. The bandit is always looking to target people that study, work hard, and achieve. And it seems sometimes, at least in Trinidad, it seems sometimes better you didn't achieve. There's no benefit to this thing. If I achieve, I work hard, and I buy 2 pens, And the other person who never put in the work to achieve the pen, they want to only take the pen. It seems as if it is unabated. There is no police. There is no reprimand for bad behavior. It is as if do wrong and you could get away with it. That is what is happening in today's world. The Hindu talks about Kali Yuga. The Hindu also says when that is on the rise, our Dharma is rising, meaning it's going to get bad. Be very clear on that point. And it is going to get worse before it gets better. We pray. We pray for help. But the big miracle of God coming doesn't come just like that. It comes at a point where it is the worst it could ever be. Pandit, do you think next year is going to be a good year? Brother, depending on your karma, that is the true judge to answer that question. That is your individual experience. Not everybody is met with a bandit. Not everybody is the patient of COVID. Not everybody has a home that undergoes landslide or snowstorm or flooding or fire like in California or other places. Not everybody lives in a war-torn district like Syria or other places. Not everybody has that experience, to be fair. Some people have happiness. Some people have health. Some people have many anniversaries in their marriage. Some people really do live blessed lives. So, Pandit, what's the difference? How come some people see so much of hardship and some people see so much of goodness? As we said at the beginning, karma. Okay, fair point, Pandit. Very good point. I understand that. I'm understanding better now. I am going through hardship. How do I get to goodness or to, some stable? Maybe not everything I get, I understand that, but everybody has that, some 1, 2, 3, the core ones I really, really need, and the others, if I could get it, if I want, if you have the blessings to spare, dear God, send it my way. But right now I need to be safe, I need to be healthy, I need to, be able to pay the bills. Maybe I can't buy the nice food every day, the fast food or different type of food, whatever it is. But bless me to have food, if you understand my point. Tonight, if you're looking on, comment, send me a comment. Let me continue before we jump in to answer this guy's question. What to do? What to do? Vitaraga bhaya krodha man maya mam upashrita bahovo jnana tapasya pota madbhavam agataha. Many have reached me in the past by surrendering to me. Surrendering to me. In Ramayana, when Sri Ram is speaking to Shabri Devi and they discuss the different forms of devotion or bhakti. And it's not only there, it's in Bhagavad too. Dasanam. Just to highlight one example. Surrender to surrender to me. Krishna Das, Sant Keshava Das, Tulsi Das. I've heard names like this. Agreed? A Das, Dasi is the servant. Jai Jagadish Hare, tum ho Swami, mai sevak ho tum Swami. I think that's how this goes. Sevak, mai Dasi. Another way. I am your servant. I am your slave. I work for you. I depend on your grace in order for me to have something. Surrender. Surrender is a different thing. Surrender is where you take out from your mind, I am doing this. I could cook this food. I am doing my job. I will answer that question. Instead, God, give me the ability to cook this takari. Dear God, give me the strength to go to work today. God, I get through this test because of you. Only with your grace I could do it. That is when you're taking yourself and you take out the I and you put Krishna, God in this case. He says, in the past, people who surrendered themselves to me became the Das, that person found me. Being free from attachment, being free from fear. It have some people just only do prayers to get, dear God, I'm doing the prayers, help me to pass the exam. I give you, it's really a batter. I giving you the how do you make the thing for Saraswati Mata? Batasa. I giving you the Batasa, give me the A. That's the only reason I give you Batasa. No other reason. I don't love you. I really, on the devotion thing, I'm doing it just to get through. That's it. Go again. People who are free of fear. It have some people tomorrow's New Year's for Trinidadians and this side of the world. It have many people who are going to get up in the morning to do Vastu Shanti Puja, or what we in Trinidad would say the Puja, because they're afraid if you don't do it, something will happen. If you don't do that Durga prayers in Naratam, you have a loss in the field. The crop going to start. I have to do that prayers in order for the crop to come in for the farmer. Fear. Take out the fear. I do something, I do it free from fear. I'm not doing it because I'm do the prayers or else type of thing. Anger. I go in and do prayers and I go show you who is man. I will show you. Hanuman Baba, sit down and mash him up. Their mind is absorbed in me, but it is purified by the fire of knowledge. Meaning, you're doing the prayers, but you're doing it correct. Because there are many people who do prayers, but where we don't talk about, is it the right type of prayers? Are you doing it the best way? I could be saying the mantra, I've talked about this many times in Satsang, and I'm sorry for repeating myself if you hear this before, but it have some people praying, but it's really if you're doing the best prayers that you are capable of doing. I could pray, Hanuman Baba, as I said, kill my neighbor. Or I could say, Hanuman Baba, help me to be a better person. Same Hanuman, same mantra. The two people in that example are praying to Hanuman. But when you hear he talk about the three modes, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic, it has Sattvic prayer, Tamasic prayer. In a simple example. In whatever way people surrender, look at that word, surrender to me. I reciprocate. I react. So you offer, let me just say, I don't know what flowers you have in your yard, but people fuss about what flowers to put in prayers. I don't know if you ever had that experience. But I'm offering a flowers that have nectar in it. Flowers sweet smelling, strong scent. So the logic is I am giving you this perfume, filled flowers. Please accept it. And God would react and send sweet times to the person. 100 marks, very good flowers, breeding a good reaction. Keshava, on the other hand, couldn't find flowers, so I went and I buy plastic flowers. It looked like flowers, in all fairness, but it wasn't genuine flowers. So it would yield less reaction, less benefit. I take a Glade spray and I spray all my plastic flowers, so it's smelling sweet. So I gave it to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, please accept this. This is all I could get. This is all I had, and I'm offering it to you. Please accept it. But there's no fragrance, there's no natural color or hue. So maybe out of 100, I get 25 out of 100. I put it. Now the two people that offer the flowers did Lord Krishna's prayer. Think what I'm saying, eh? One get 100 marks, and the other one gets some marks because, well, they did God's worship. They did it with a whole heart, clean. But they wouldn't get the same as the person who offered the best, the perfume-filled flowers. Think about that. In whatever way the person surrendered himself to me, I will reciprocate that action. So how you give, literally, is so you get. How you do, how you pray, how you offer, this is where he's giving you. 11th verse, he's saying, I will return that in kind. So this is where now somebody says, I'm having puja, I want to put my best foot forward. This is one reason why your mother, grandmother made that effort. Sometimes maybe it have a simpler way. We in the West Indies, in our culture, we make a strong effort, for example, to make our prasad ourselves. And we do it, although it may be painstaking, it may not come out perfect, but we make these recipes as part of our prayer ourselves so that it is pure and intact. In other parts of the world, let's say in India, that is not their culture, that is not their practice. They will buy sweets from a sweet shop that have been there maybe how many days. The person definitely in fasting who made it. There's no criteria. But they will, it's convenient. And they will take that and go and offer it in the prayer. Do you think it will bring about the same reaction? But that becomes the predominant culture of other society. It's very convenient. In whatever way people surrender to me, I reciprocate and I return. Oh Arjun, whatever the circumstances, everybody is on my path. Whether you call this religion, that religion, let's say in the religion, you could be a follower of Shakti, you could be a follower of Shiva, you could be a follower of Vishnu, all. Call him by different name, but all is that one God. Those who desire material wealth in this world, they perform yagya and worship the devatas. These are examples now, different ways people are doing it. Worship the devatas. And in this way, from the devatas, you get material blessings very quick. That's their job. That is one way people do it. People pray depending on their caste, on their varna, on their gun, and gain karma. And though I am the creator, and I am the transcendental form, I who take and make everything, they don't understand that. Some do, some don't. Whilst I am not affected by action or karma, nor do I desire the fruit of action, just understanding the truth about this will free a person from the karma that is affecting us, that we just talked about in Bhagavad when it comes to Kali Yuga. What that means? Ancient people, long time people, like how we started off in the beginning, seekers of liberation knew this and performed action. You too should follow this example. Perform your duty. Your duty. What is action? What is inaction? Is a very confusing topic. Verse 16, he's saying this. Hear my explanation about action and free yourself from the bondage that this comes from sinful action. In Hinduism, it are 3 words that we from time to time banter about. In another satsang, I'll deal with that for you. Karma is action. Akarma or akarmic, inaction. And vikarma is usually the term for wrong action. It's really confusing, truthfully. Verse 17, even the wise are confused in understanding what is action, wrong action, inaction. The 3 words are just lists for you. Karma is deeply profound and a mystical subject. The wise person could see action in inaction, inaction in action. And the people who understand this are considered yogis. Let me just give you an example. Imagine I said, tomorrow I'm going to become a hermit. I'm going to give up everything, give up the wife, give up children, grandchildren, the dog, and go and live in the forest and do Lord Shiva jap. Whilst you might see that as I'm giving up all my activity, the person is born based on prarabdha karma, or your predestined rules, father, husband, children, etc. And you have an obligation to them. You have a limited amount of time to fulfill your roles. So by not doing, or inaction, by not doing those things, you are by and large committing a sin. Think about not being there for the wife, not being there for the child, not providing for your family. But you're telling yourself, the action that I am doing is very pious, very good, very prayerful. That ain't going to save you from the sin you are committing this side. So one of the things that Krishna says to Mata in the mahatyam of the Bhagavad-gita, he says, even if a person is doing their prarabdha karma, the father is a father, the husband is a husband, the wife is a wife, etc. In doing your duty, you will find the liberation coming to you and you will become free from the karma. Wise people who act without desires, their karma are burnt away by the knowledge of these things. So I'm going to eat Jai Vishnu, Jai Vishnavi. I'm going to cook, I'm singing for God. In the example of doing your duty, you don't do it to get thanks from the husband or the wife or to get the accolade. Look, I'm cooking dal today. Look, everybody, Krishna, you give my family to feed. And I'm doing my job. Bless this pot. Bless them with health, strength. Full their belly and bless them to reach back safe. I'm doing it for you, not for that person. Thanks. I went to the temple, it had yag, and I really cooked the best parsad. I did. But I didn't, in my mind, make care who give voter thanks. Don't get tired of that. And it have some people that need that to bring peace in the yard. So if the host opens his mouth and he says, everybody who come and help, God bless you and I thank you very much. Leave him, that is his job. That's fine, that's good. He's being grateful. You as the individual in this example have to grow yourself into a mind that, you know what, Krishna, whilst that ghee melting in that pot, I am making this to please you. This is your jug. Shiv Baba, Durga Mata, this is for you. Within myself, I just want you to be happy. Smile on this person and let everybody taste your person. When you have that mindset, you're still doing, But in doing, you'll find God. He is active or she is active without thinking about the fruits of the action, the thanks or the gratefulness, the accolade, the award ceremony. He is in control of his mind, his intelligence, with no perception of possession, getting the post as the president, as the vice president, or I am the best parsad maker. I am doing this only to get the blessing of the Lord. I am only doing this for his pleasure. I work, I serve at the pleasure of Krishna. I have then become the servant. I have then become the das. I have surrendered my activity and my actions to him. That person becomes very contented in whatever they have and whatever they do, in whatever they achieve. They free themselves by their own thought, just your thought. Free yourself from envy and duality of being happy, not happy, content, not content. Some people have, and it's as if they don't have, or they never have enough. And then some people have very little, and they are so contented and light and happy. They find themselves in a balanced state when they pass the exam, when they fail the exam, when things go their way, when things don't go their way. That person becomes free from the karmic reactions that happen in this life. This is how you do it. You control your mind. You control yourself. That person who is detached and is firm in their knowledge of me, God, is released from karma. And they themselves could be infectious, because when people like that talk and teach, they start to change the mindset of the listener, the person who they are talking to. Verse 24. For one whose thoughts are completely absorbed in God, all his offerings, whatever he might share, words, thoughts, deeds, become spiritually in nature. It is easy for that person to find God. Imagine the person sharing water in a flooded area, they're guiding a youngster about changing friends or choosing the right boy to get married to, a word of advice. Coming home and feeding the dog in the yard or the stray dog by the doubles man, whatsoever it is. Whatever he is doing, he or she is doing, it becomes spiritual. And it's very easy to find God for that individual. Some people prefer to make material, physical offerings to the devatas, sindoor, saffron, prasad. Some people sacrifice themselves in the fire of the Supreme. Example, but not limited to. People travel to Varanasi or Kashi to die in such a place. It says if the person dies there, if they're final rites, the Anteshti Sanskar, they're burned in the gut where the earring or the body parts of Parvati, Sati Devi, up to now they burn bodies there. If I go and the body is burnt away, if the ashes are offered in the Ganges, I will get mukti, I will get liberation. So you become the offering. In the fire of the controlled mind, some sacrifice their hearing. You know what? Today, I'm only going to listen to the chanting of the Hanuman Chalisa. I am going to find myself where the Bhagavad is going to be read, and I'm going to listen like Parikshit. I am going to listen to that Bhagavad. That is my offering. That is all I could afford. Maybe that is all I could do. On a morning, I only like to hear my bhajan husband. I don't want to hear no raga raga music. I don't want to hear anything else. I am sacrificing this. And I am focusing my mind to absorb only those positive things. Some people give up listening to gossip. Some people stop listening to lies. The yagya of the sacrifice of their sense, that also applies to things like what they like to see, what they like to eat or drink. Think about the person who is addicted to some type of chemical. While some others offer what they enjoy. So Diwali is coming and a person really loves to drink alcohol. They really do. But you know what? For the blessings of Lakshmi Mata, for the benefit of her grace and her happiness, I'm going to just walk away from that for some time. We call it fasting. Some offer the functions of their organs, the vital air in their body. So, different breathing exercise, Om, Namah Shivaya, for example, pranayam, stretching, twisting, yogic practice, etc. Some people sacrifice the wealth that they have, not necessarily in puja, but in charity to help other people. Or some offer austerities, doing jap for so many times. If you see somebody from the ISKCON movement, the Hare Krishna Society, they constantly have their jap mala and they're going for every breath, they're calling Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Some people follow Ashtanga Yoga or the practice of studying vows, taking vows. I am going to do, I forget how you call the vow. Chandrayan Brat, Ekadasi Brat, Trayodasi Brat, different type of vows that will purify my karmic history by doing these type of activities. Some people study the Veda and cultivate or develop their knowledge. Some people, well, okay, repeating it here. Some people, verse 29, practice breath control, sacrificing, holy breath. But when you breathe out, you push up the diaphragm. So you breathe out properly. Controlling the intake and the extake, bringing a kind, I don't want to say the dizziness you feel sometimes, but that is part of it, a state of trance. And gives the person, like in Sufism, where they start to twirl their body. They bend their neck, and part of their prayer ritual, we sit down, fold our feet, and hold jap mala with certain fingers. We put postures in place when offering a dar, or to heart if you're offering Devi dar. Different things to help hone the energy. We face east, for example, to take the energy of the Lord in one form, the sunlight, to lift our existence. Sufism, they zone out from the noise and the distraction by twirling the body and getting the mind. You know, some people feel giddy by controlling that sensation that allows the person to find the divine, because they're doing it not just for doing its sake. A child could spin like this, may never see God. But if the person does it with control, with guidance, with teachings, how to do it, the person loses touch with the physical and they start to deal with the supernatural or the God. Some people in the agoric culture, they smoke different hallucinogen so that they lose touch with the physical and they go into that subconscious moaning or traveling or astral travel, and they make the contact. One way of doing that is controlling that inhalation, exhalation. Some people give up the intake of certain types of food, sacrificing not only the food aspect, but also giving up sexual practice, honing and developing that sexual energy is also part of the preparation for Yagya, for Puja. Puja coming up, husband and wife, we're going to hold up and hone that energy. There's nothing wrong with a husband and wife coming together, to be quite clear. It is the person that you are not expelling. This comes from Shiv Puran, where Lord Shiva talks to Mother Parvati about that. Holding on to that sexual energy allows the person to develop. Just as you want to go and do the prayer, you put your foot on your kush grass to save the energy of your body, or to develop so that the little puja that you do has a lot of benefit in your life. It changes the karma, it is bringing up. So how you do that? You prepare yourself. You give up certain food, you sacrifice the sexual practice in that ashram of husband and wife at that time in your life. You know, you say you hold a certain form of fasting so that the energy of your body is purified and it is developing. Such sacrificial acts have the power to cleanse the impurities that bad karma in the past would place into your life. Such action, like we will just deal with the charity, reading, practicing vows, controlling the breath, living like a bachelor lifestyle for a certain amount of time, celibacy. All these things are different ways, not only puja, or not only engaging in prayer in the traditional sense, but living the prayer. Thinking about God when you're cooking, when you're having your shower, when you're, regardless. I could still do prayer in different ways. I am in the train, I am in the bus, I am in the plane, and I could still talk to God in different ways. I could do breathing exercise wherever I am. I may not have manbog in my hands, but I could offer you, dear God, I'm listening to your Gita chanting, I am saying my mantra, I am reading my Bhagavad-gita on the train, I am listening to the Gayatri mantra, I'm thinking about it, mental or manas puja, in different ways we do it. Such sacrificial acts have the power to cleanse the impurity that is caused by bad or vikarma, wrong action, past mistakes, like how we talked about the epilepsy. I have this problem in my life, I want to conquer it. Well, then you engage in these types of acts. This is the answer. Engage in these types of acts and you will be able to remove or gain the forgiveness or clear that karma from your path. Enjoying even the remnants, or what we call prasad, the remnants from the sacrifice, they, just by eating the prasad, verse 30, chapter 4 of Bhagavad-gita, he says it, they will attain the supreme abode. They cleanse themselves of the past karma that is no longer hitting them, beating them, pushing them left and right. Coming on this earth, 1 minute you have eyes, next minute you don't have money, you're living, you can never have a home. But by doing these type of sacrificial things, a person gains. Oh, Arjun, verse 31, please remember what I'm saying here. Without a life of sacrifice or yagya, it is impossible to find happiness in this life or in the next. The Vedas describe many different ways that a person does yagya. The word yagya means sacrifice, positive action, good karma, that are suitable for different categories of problems or work that need to be done. So, for example, if a person has migraine headache, when they're giving charity to, well, let me say young boys who have the Janev or the Pandit, Guruji, etc., make sure, a good thing to do, there are many people, tomorrow is the 1st of January, they might go looking for their Guru. If you could get the Janev that they would wear, by giving Baba, I know from time to time you would have to change your Janev string, please look, I'm bringing one for you, please use it. By giving that, the reaction, the equal and opposite reaction, is that the person who has head pain, headaches for different causes, they overcome that and slowly that starts to dissipate. It starts to go away, it melts. The tablet might start to work, the doctor makes a good diagnosis, I feel you should try this tablet, and boom, headache done. Know them Read the Ved, listen, so that you become knowledgeable. Another example for you to walk away with tonight. A person has diabetes. Some people live, they're diabetic and they live normal, whereas other people have a lot of problems. How do you conquer or put that into control? The karmic activity, the good action, take water and give it in charity. Gurupran says if the person is walking on the road and it's hot sun, offer them shade, give them something to drink. A guest come by your house. If all we could afford is a glass of water, rainwater, tap water, it doesn't say anything like that, bottled water, what you could afford, always offer water. Excuse me. And the person will gain, to be quite clear, now you hear on all social media that you could revert diabetes. I'm not talking about that. But so far, as far as technology goes, there isn't a tablet that goes into your system, to be clear, and it says, okay, 1, 2, 3, abracadabra, diabetes is cured. From that perspective, from that standpoint, the same person who is having poor control, the diabetes starts to calm down. The person who has infection or the other, sideline or related, secondary related issues starts to come under control. The medicine starts to be a little more effective. You start to see better numbers, better lifestyle, better quality of life by that act. Know them and be liberated from the material bondage. Let me put it in a different way for you. Listen when your guru talk. Listen when your godfather talk. Listen when the pundit talk. Pick up what you could pick up. And remember, write it down. Record it, do something. Write it down so that you could remember to do it. And maybe when your pundit come home by you, remember to put the Janeva string in the cedar. Baba would like to give you something. Or the temple, the school, the somebody having something. And you know what? I could afford 1 case of water in today's world. Or I have a truck and I run, water. I have a church up the road, they need water. I would like to donate this water today. Many examples, I'm sure you could find one. And free yourself, liberate yourself from what? The material bondage is a nice way of saying the problems that we have because of our karma. Liberate yourself from the bondage of karma. O conqueror of all enemies, O son of Kunti, higher than material sacrifice or doing the puja, om, swaha, 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 following instructions, but never really praying, not really knowing why I put in red powder to Hanuman Swami or any example you could imagine. I'm doing it, I do my prayers, I'm a flag, but don't ask me what I'm doing. Better than material sacrifice is sacrifice that is performed, puja, yagya, anything that is performed with knowledge. Because when you do the activity, when you know why you're doing it, for example, if you see me, Pandit Keshava, giving water in charity to schools, to whatever religious organization, to people, understand that in my mind, between me and you, Lord Krishna, me studying who could benefit, or you must see me or advert, and I use it myself. Between me and you, God, we come to help, we help it. Prabhu, I want you to be happy with me. This is between me and you, me and you, me and you. With that work, in that way, knowledge, transcendental knowledge, the idea that God is with you, God is watching you, it comes. How that is work? To put it in, Christmas gone the other day, to put it in a nutshell, when you train children in thinking naughty or nice, Santa Claus is making a list and he's watching you. Everything you do, he's watching you. And we understand that as children, very good with Santa Claus, but we don't catch it with God. We miss it with God. God does see some things. God don't see everything. God is watching every action. But the Santa Claus law applies to God. Everything is recorded. It is monitored. If you change, if you better yourself, or you continue to degrade yourself, it could get worse. The wise people who realize the truth about this can impart these truths to others. If you approach, for example, with humility, in a mode of submissive curiosity, with genuine service, good attitude, to an enlightened guru, you will become free of all your ignorant thoughts and see the truth in this world, that in every living being, inanimate, animate, the common spiritual core is me, O Arjun. As you are taught some information you cannot develop on your own. Some people think, and it's a misinterpretation, that you could sit down and without knowledge, follow me, I don't know about jab, I don't know about mantras, I don't know anything about spirituality, ignorance, I will be enlightened by God and I will learn. It doesn't work like that. A person who has the knowledge and the way how to bake the cake teaches the person this is how to do it. And after that, the person could follow that pattern. This is why you have a guru, to initiate you in this life of spirituality, to bring you in, and when you start, oh, this is how to do it. There is where a person could get inspiration, but you have to have that linkage with the divine so that you could receive the message. Without the proper training, the person would not have the knowledge to interpret the message properly. An example of that, imagine you went and you had a wonderful dream, but I don't know what this dream means. I'll call Pandit Keshava and I'll ask him to consult the holy books where Devi Mata is describing, if you dream teeth falling out your mouth, it means this. If you dream snake wrapping up your body, it means this. If you dream fleas and scorpions and these crawling types, it means this. And then Baba will tell you via the phone, tell me if this is something, really real and feasible. Oh, Pandit, now I know. Pandit, how to do a hawan? Pandit, how to offer Dharma? How should I approach this problem? And with the enlightened guru guiding, meaning knowledgeable of the subject matter, with the knowledge of the subject matter or text, whichever angle you take, how can I guide you about Dar if I never offer Dar? Chant the mantra, open the beach, the energy of the prayer. How you guide the person to get what they want if you don't know about it? If you are a stranger to God, how could you gauge the progress of the student? Any school teacher, let's say you're teaching arts and craft, you have to have mastered that science at least to some level, some point, so that you could say, you know what, I think you're going right, I think you're going wrong, I think you're trying to fool me, as many people do. Then if you are not knowledgeable of the subject matter, how are you going to teach somebody else? That is an open-ended question. Leave me a comment. The boat of true knowledge, meaning the core of everything, is Krishna. The boat that is on the sea of transcendental knowledge can help you cross this ocean of pain, karma, material existence. No matter how big a sinner you may be. Verse 36. Gaining this knowledge that we're talking about tonight could change your life. Change your actions, change your thinking, change your behavior. Get into a mode of developing the yagya in your life. That's a different thing, eh? Find ways. Plant 2 tomatoes. Send 2 tomatoes for the neighbor. Don't mind your race or the religion. You be that person that is giving. And who are you giving for? For my Swami, for my Krishna, for my Hanuman, for my Durga. Do it for God happiness, not for other people. That's just one example. Beautiful. Verse 37. O Arjun, just as fire burns wood to ashes, this knowledge about me burns away all the bad karma, the akarma, bad karma. It burns all the bad karma or the bad karmic reactions that you and I have to face. Based on what we were talking about, Kali Yuga, the drought,
the season changing, the moving on the land, shortening our lifespan, no food, hardships, money problems, all those karmic reactions. Verse 37. Knowledge like this burns those karmic actions to go. So you may be living in Kali, but your life doesn't have to be so hard. This year is coming, but it does not have to be so hard. The knowledge we're talking about, I went in the kitchen, just for children, everybody bear with me. I tried to explain it in such a way that everybody could leave this evening with something. I went in the kitchen and I saw flour, sugar, icing, and the little chocolate chip business, which is this pointy cake. Alright, no problem. Just take everything, throw it in a basin. Just literally, don't measure nothing. It had don't put this first, that after. It had, just throw it. The last thing I would get is a cake. How we expect a cake to look. However, if I follow the recipe, and I know when, for example, the thing when is doing the toothpick, for all the people baking, tell me the toothpick in the cake, and I don't know what it is we looking for. I remember my aunt when we were smaller, mommy's sister used to be real baking around Christmas time. Christmas and New Year's, you know, that was part of the tradition when we was growing up. And you know, you're a child and you want to see the cake in the oven and you deal with tea and everything. And it always had this thing where they used to take a toothpick and chuck it in the cake. And they pull it out, oh, it's done, oh, it's good, oh, it's good. It had to bake 15 minutes again, if you know what I do. Now I sit in here, I don't know what it is they're looking for. But you know, right? So you could say, Pundit, they're doing that for X, Y, and Z reason. So you know if we go practical now, if we go in the oven now, if we go to put up a cake now, you would know what to look for. I wouldn't. So it is very easy to see. You who know about baking the cake would know when to pull it out from the oven. It wouldn't burn, it might come out the best. Mine on the other hand, I might only know when it starts to smell burnt and then the cake coming out, how it will look. You could imagine and taste this. The knowledge will burn away. When you're knowledgeable, you will act accordingly. You will do things in the right way at the right time to save yourself from pain, from struggle, from hardship. You might do things, you might take to your life in a very practical short term. In the life now, you would do different. You approach the money, the marriage, to your needs rather than your wants. You need something or you want something. You really need it, but I want it. They would make decisions differently with the knowledge. And then another example. So somebody tell me, what is the Hindu way of celebrating January 1st? Knowledge. Knowledge, this how we doing some strange things. Cake again. If I went to do puja home by you, tell me this one, eh? I went to do puja home by you, time to out the diya or the incense. I don't know if you ever see people try to out incense stick like that. Do we do that? Anybody send my message? The answer is no, because of the spit, the bacteria, the jota meaning you put your bacteria. What's the problem with tasting the parasite before you offer it? The contamination that is brought about by your spittle or your bodily fluids, the bacteria that is put in there, we don't want to offer that contaminated thing. So, likewise, I'm going to offer the incense. Don't do that. Maybe you shake your hand or something like that. It has no contamination in it. So, further to that, let's say the diya. It is disrespectful to blow the diya. Every Hindu, I think we could agree on that. It is common knowledge. Good. But, so I went to do puja. So don't blow the diya, Baba. Alright. We put a candle on the cake because it isn't from a Hindu origination. We put a candle on the cake and it became okay to blow the candle. So we saw a practice and we emulate the practice, but we don't know what it means. But that practice is really not very Hindu-like. If you think about it, you will see what I said. You think, you as a person, you have the knowledge, and let that knowledge form a thought in your mind, this is just an example, and you act accordingly. In my life, I am not lying for you. You know, when I was younger, I blow candle. But if you think about it, the same flame that exists in that deer, the same Lakshmi, is the same light on that candle. So in this example, what are we doing? Another example that brings me to this point about New Year's. The Hindu New Year is really in March, April, as you know, when Naratam comes. Naratam comes when there's a change in season. In India, where they have a winter and a spring, that first one marks the beginning of spring. When there's a rejuvenation, a beginning, a start. But because of the Roman practice of the calendar that we follow in the Western world, they named January after the pagan god Janus, which is a two-headed being. One way he could have seen the past, one way he could have seen the future. And the Caesar in Roman history wanted that day to be, the new beginning, the 1st of January, beginning of Janus month. Spring doesn't come there in many places. No beginning. How does it look? Because in the same calendar that we follow, and we know, for example, the meaning of the different months that we practice. August, an easier one, October, November 9, August 8, December is 12, but that isn't the 10th, 11th, 12th, how the months are labeled. But if you check from March, April, when the true beginning of the year with the spring, that Naratam that we celebrate, those months, they are lining up in the correct numbers when you're checking back. The January 1 has no, from the Hindu astrology, Hinduism, the discourse, it has no bearing. It was not our practice. It is not our practice till this day. Our Patra really talks about the Navratri and the celebration of Naratam. If you didn't know this, this is the answer. This is how the Hindu celebrates the Hindu New Year or the New Year. We are not the only people that celebrates New Year there. The Chinese have their time. The Aztecs had a very similar day to our time. And the calendar is supported when you look at the movement of the sun and the moon and the solstice and other things, such as the weather patterns and so on. So the Hindu that is practicing tomorrow as the beginning of the year, every day, to be honest, is a good day, is a good day. And I don't see it as a bad thing. To answer the question, I don't see it as a bad thing. If somebody gets up in the morning and they say, God, I would like to do a hawan or a sacrifice. I would like to offer a dar as a sacrifice. I would like to share food. I would like to send cake for my neighbor. I would like to invite my neighbor to drink some water. I don't think these things are bad. Does it have to be on New Year's Day? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. That hospitality that we show to guests, that the guest is God, all those things could exist and could be established in our lives every day. Every day. Of course, bearing in mind our financial ability, and that's good. But the neighborly love, the familiar love, the family love, those things are every day. So, from the Hindu standpoint, this is why you may not see a consistent procedure as you see for the Naratam. In Naratam, you understand very clear. Okay, for example, in Trinidad, where we have 2 seasons, we have 2 Naratam. In India, where they have 4, they have 4 Naratam. Every time there's a transition from one season, for example, winter into spring, a lot of people get the virus, a lot of colds. One of the reasons why we celebrate Navratri Day. And that is how we celebrate the New Year. This what is coming tomorrow for some that are already hitting the fireworks and all that. It is a practice that we are bombarded with. It is from a different culture that we are lying ourselves but know the truth. Like the idea of blowing out the candle or the light. Make this foreign day that we have now grown, everybody grew up knowing New Year's is 1st of January. The truth is, it is rooted in other things, other cultures. But it doesn't mean that we cannot make this day holy to you and I. It is, for many, a time when the school term will start. The financials for some people, the business. They started a new financial year. So it makes sense that you find activities, sacrifices that he's referring here. You find it in ways to do that will bring about betterment or freedom. Arjun, as fire burns wood to ashes, knowledge of the yagya, knowledge of the sacrifice, knowledge of Krishna will save a person from all the karmic reactions that exist. Nothing is more purifying than this divine knowledge. A mind purified by the activity of these type of yagya, supported with the knowledge in these times, in Kali, is the only way out from pain. Faith, self-control, brings success in every endeavor. That success brings peace. Faith in God, controlling yourself, knowing when to, take a fast, take a break, husband and wife, celibacy, doing different activities and knowing when to stop it. Controlling yourself truthfully, not because somebody poured it you or forced you to do it, but because I want to do it. There's a different level of control. That will bring good karmic reaction. That will lead success in the job, getting through the job, the application, the exam, whichever example you're looking at, you'll get the success. And when you get that success that you want, the way a 50-year-old and a 15-year-old will pray is not the same, it may not be the exact same thing, but they get through their God and get what I'm looking for. So I'm successful. After you get that success, you start to get peaceful because you're not agitated, you're not, the exam coming, oh God. When you don't pass the exam, you don't be like that. You get through until the next exam comes, the next problem comes, the next issue comes. So again, you endeavor into the positive, you do the right thing, and you get successful again. Success is coming again, and then you find that peace again. When you get so accustomed being successful that every time you go and you pray to Krishna, he's answering, he's going to set my dream, he's going to guide, he's going to protect me. Hanuman Baba is always there. The person with that knowledge starts to have the success that they're looking for. Always, it's there. I know once I go to he, I just get through. When I'm looking for this, I just get through. When I call on him and Hanuman Chalisa, I'm going to get through. I become successful. And when you have the confidence that God is listening to my prayer, I have the faith that when I say my prayer, I know it will fall in his ears. And I know he's coming. With that faith, as he tells you just now, with faith, you will find you peaceful. Because maybe Pandit Keshava, I have a faith. I don't know about you. Do you have faith? New Year coming tomorrow. What do you have faith in? Because here how stupid your Pandit is that. I wonder if Hanuman Baba will help with this stupid child one. This child has behaved so bad. I wonder if them try to come and track on the book. What is Pandit telling me to do? How one for boy? That could work. I don't feel like working. I have more faith in the psychologists, psychiatrists, medicine, taking up the belt. All these things could work. But prayers, God, that I have. Me have faith in that. What do you have faith in? Your new year coming, and he's telling you very clear how to overcome the karma that beaten, according to Bhagavad, the karma that beaten each one of us. How to conquer that hardship, that badness. How to do it. But do you have faith in it? It says, the faithless, doubting the scriptures, perish time and time again. They lose. They don't gain success. But they fall to karma. And they undergo punishment until maybe one day, God bless you, that you learn the lesson about seeing God in everything, and whatever I do, do it for God. Until we start to learn those lessons, you're going to find your life is good 1 minute, sad, good, sad, good, sad, 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 good, sad, 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 sad. I fed up all the sadness, but I killed myself. Sad. They remain lost, finding no happiness here in this world or in the next world or in the next life, because they do not hold to me. One becomes free of karmic bondage, O Arjun, when one renounces all the attachment to the benefit. I do it, I feeding you. Watch I cooking food for you every day, husband. What are you looking for? Thanks. I give the charity. Look, I'm giving $1 million. Watch me. What are you looking for? Thanks, or the benefit, or the accolade, the certificate? What are you doing it for in your heart? Not, I mean, in organization, you have to have accountability in today's world. That is true. But in your heart, leave that to the people who run in the organization. In your heart, when you do something, don't you do it for God? Krishna Arpan? How many times we do it in person? I would tell you, make sure I'm there. Water, Krishna Arpan. Prasad, Krishna Arpan. You're giving somebody something, Krishna, in your name. Krishna, you bless it, you touch it, you take it. The person dispels all the doubts by the knowledge based on the experience. I know when I say my press that, you see that don't play with that, you know. For example, because they become realize that God is, because they have that knowledge, they could talk like that. That knowledge just take away all the doubt you might have. Oh Arjun, last verse, verse 42. Slash the doubts with the sword of knowledge. Slash the doubt. Who you doubting? God? Who you doubting? Me? Who you doubting? Your karma? What you doubting? Beat it with the sword of knowledge. Stand up and get ready to fight with knowledge. In this way, you will overcome your problem. Vindravan Viharilalaki Jai. In the Bhagavad-gita mahatyam, which comes from Skand Puran, he's talking to Lakshmi Mata. Lord Vishnu is talking to Lakshmi Mata about this, and he's telling her in Skand, if you read the chapter 1, what you get. If you read chapter 2, what you get. If you read chapter, and he goes like that for the 18 chapters. There's a different mahatyam in Varaha Puran. The Lord Krishna is talking to Mother Earth in the cow form. Just to answer a question, there was a Brahman by the name of Maharaj Bharat, great person. His prayer is always, and he's living in Kashi, Varanasi, and one day he was leaving where the Kashi Vishwanath Jyotirlingam is, and he's going to another place to have darshan of the prayers that was going on there. And along the way he becomes exhausted. Maharaj Bharat decides to lie down between these two huge bale trees. Head on one side like a pillow, foot on the other side like a hammock. And without, any fuss, the next morning he gets up and continues. Those two trees started dry and they died not too long after. The Jiv, the Atma of those trees ascend, and one day reborn into the form of two girls, and they go and they find the same Maharaj Bharat, and they drop their head when they encounter him by the Triveni, where where the Godavari river is flowing. In this place called Chinapa, Bharat was there doing worship, and he drops down. The two girls drop down their head by his feet. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your darshan. Thank you for your blessing. You have allowed us to regain this human birth. Thank you so much, Swamiji. So he's saying, but I don't know all. I've never met all children. What are you talking about? So they say, Guruji, in our last life we were two Gandharvas, and there was a great Muni by the name of Satyatapa. Satyatapa was a very powerful person, very knowledgeable of text. And he had the ability to call. If he called Brahma, Brahma will come. If he called Shiva Baba, he will come. If he called Vishnu Baba, he will come. Indradev, god of the heavenly region, becomes very jealousful of this person. And because of the audience he had with the Holy Trinity, he's afraid of him. He says, if that man was to whisper one day that he wants my job, he will take my job. So it is better he is tested and he will fail the test. And then when he falls from grace, he will no longer be, tempted. He will no longer, and the man didn't have that in his head. But this entire thing is playing off in Indra's mind. He will no longer be in any way, an adversary or any way able to take my position. He says in this age, a person is wooed very easily by the opposite sex. And he called us. Indra called us with the little girls. They're saying we were the Gandharvas. We danced and sang in heaven. And he he instructed us, go and dance in front of this man and offer sexual favors to him. And when he accepts your advances and he falls prey to that lust, he will fall from grace. He will lose all the Karmic, the Yogic powers that he had. And they went close to that river, Godavari, where he was praying. And with the jingles of their anklets and so on, making noise as they were dancing, he opened his eyes and their blouse, just a piece of fabric, fell. So now upper part is exposed. And this enraged the Muni, because they had lost their modesty, their intentions, their thoughts. They even advanced on him that, oh Muni, nobody will know. Nobody is going to know. But we wish to have relations with you. You're such a great person. You're so popular. You're so wonderful. We wish to have that with you. Please give us that. And he takes water from the mandal where he's sitting, threw it on him. And he says, because of your avarice, because of your behavior, I put Shrap upon you. In your next janam, you're going to be born as two huge bale trees. And remain there. They dropped to his feet and they started to beg for forgiveness in a very submissive, docile way. And he says, okay, one day a Brahman will come and chant in your company the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. By listening to it, it will purify you. By coming into contact with somebody who has the ability, masters this chapter 4, you will then be freed from the karma of your previous birth, the mistake you're making right now. For this reason, the girls are explaining to Bharat, when you came to that place where we had been growing for hundreds of years, and you did your personal prayer of reading chapter 4 Bhagavad-gita from verse 1 to the last verse, you praying for yourself, but we were in the company of you, as it were. And as you were praying, we were listening. And you single-handedly freed us from that form. And we were able to attain birth into a family where we corralled by parents, where we corralled by the tidings of our Dharma, and we were allowed to develop. Thank you, Guruji, and about it. Lord Vishnu says to Lakshmi Devi, dear Lakshmi, when those two girls had given that entire history to Maharaj Bharat, he became very happy. And he left that place. They separated. The girls then went back to their homes. Panditji went to his place. And the Guru continued to sing the value, the benefit of reading chapter 4, knowing it. So what I'm talking about, imagine, for those people that are knowledgeable of the Hanuman Chalisa, and you say, you know what, Pandit, I have to chant those 40 verses. In most cases, the chapters have less than 40 verses. Just to tell you, chapter 4 has 42 verses. So imagine you have the verses and you chant them one after the other. The benefit is that the worst types of sin that you can imagine. He did say in tonight's reading, you could be how bad or how bad you were. You could overcome the sins of your past life or this life, depending on what you're going through. So there's hope for people like you and I. Agreed? One key point came out there, and it has to do with a question that someone, I hinted at the beginning if you came in late in our conversation tonight. Somebody had made a comment, and somebody showed me the comment and asked me what I thought about it. On the Facebook page of Sri Ishwarama, a person, people, I don't know them, always posting tidbits about our Dharma, and I love the information that they provide to the public, usually very researched information. A little controversy about the they have a pit here, do not offer Ganesh Baba, and the person says, well, you're mistaken, Lord Vishnu endorses the Tulsi plant. And he does in Bhagavad, where let's say in the Shaligram origination discourse, he says, when you come as the plant, I will be the black stone. That she did curse him at that time when they killed her husband, and that time was Shankachur. They decapitated his head, and Lord Vishnu says, Devi, I'm here because I had to distract your prayer. And when I distracted your prayer, Lord Shiva took the life of your husband at a distance. She says, oh my God, your heart is cold as a stone. I give you shrap. Go upon the earth, leave your wife the way you made me leave my husband. Go upon the earth as a black, cold, callous stone. So, in a particular river, the Shaligram is formed, it's natural, it's not man-made. And there are different ones. And he says, when I come as the Shaligram, you will come as the Tulsi plant, and your leaves will always be associated with my form. The point of Ganapati Baba and Tulsi happens before that conversation. The person is correct in their comment, and whoever saw it, don't be upset. Listen, learn, knowledge. That happened after that conversation, Mahavishnu, and when you come as the Tulsi plant, you'll be with me. Everything you know, the root of the Tulsi, the flowers is the best flowers to make mala for Krishna. The pronouncement that if you put the Tulsi wood in Gra Puja or you use it in cremation, it brings about different blessings. That happens after. The discourse that the Tulsi is banned from Ganapati worship is found in Brahm Vaivat Puran. I wrote it down. I think it is the first book, Ganapati Kand. For you that is writing it down, please listen. Brahm Vaivat Puran, Ganapati Kand, chapter 46, the last verse in that book. In that, Tulsi is a little girl. She's a young girl. In the Bhagavad discourse, she's a grown woman. Little girl wants a husband. Long story short, she grew up with her mother praying that she wants to get married. So she prays to Durga Mata, please send me a husband. And she sees Ganesh Baba. As she said that prayer by the Ganga, he's up the road in blue, praying to Krishna. So she thought, well, yeah, as a child, God made this for me. So she went up to him and has put the discourse, I'm summarizing, pulled the ears and checked the belly. Why is belly so big? Why? How come you have an elephant there and a human form? But God created you for me, boy. Get ready. I'm the princess of the area. Organize yourself. We're going to get married. Ganesh Baba started to laugh at you. And Ganesh Baba tells you, oh my God, that is the worst thing. If I go and get married, day karma, oh my God, I will never have the time to spend any time with my God. I'll be obligated now to the spouse. Corrupt the karma, what we was now talking about. And I'll have a role, and I'm indebted to this person to take care of this person. In his case, he's saying a wife. So I'm afraid what a woman would do to my time and my life, my trajectory, and where I'm going. I don't want to get married. Better you go and marry somebody who's passionate about marriage and, passionate about, the opposite sex and everything. And people like that should marry people like that. People who want to marry should marry people who want to marry. I am not of that. You see, after I get married, then the real sin is words. The real sin is come. Children. Your life become now, you sacrifice your whole life for them. And in it, your time, the limited time that we have, you give it to children. And you become the loser. Because now I spend even less time with my God. and you become truly a servant. And you see it now in Kali Yuga, you see it more than anything, because you become the parent, but you're in any way treated with respect. Many parents are disrespected and they don't even realize it because it comes so normal. So he says, better you leave me. So all the while in the conversation, Tulsi is telling him, coaxing him, negotiating it. I am so young, I am so good looking, and she's pointing to her body. Look at my physique, very young. You should want to marry me. Why don't you look at how good looking I am? So after he bad talk marriage and the construct of marriage, she became very emotional. And she said, I am going to put a shrap on you. Ganesh Baba, Ganapati Khan, Brahma Puran, chapter 46. You are going not to marry one girl, you're going to marry two of them. You're afraid what one lady go do you? I put trap on you, you'll get married to two. So that happened there. Think was saying. Then many years later in the Shiv Puran discourse, you will hear that they went around the mother 3 times. Remember that? And the mother and father said, you know what, Riddhi and Siddhi will get married to them. Alright, go again. You're afraid wedding, you hate Viva Sanskar, okay, you will become the main devta in all the wedding. When the Pandit blessing Mangal Sutra, blessing the ring to put it away, all the Dwar prayers, all the different steps, Ganesh Baba, Ganesh Baba, Ganesh Baba, Ganesh Baba, all comes up. You ever get a wedding invitation and somebody say, I want to invite you, I want to get married, and on it you see the emblem of Ganapati Baba or something to that effect, his name or his form. This is Tulsi Devi causing that. So he became the main devta of all of them. No problem. He says, I accept everything, you understand, my turn. You see that part where he was advertising your body, your physique, and trying to allure me as a man, the opposite sex, from a lustful perspective, to entice myself with you? I put a shrap on you. Please remember this part. Hindus once and for all, please remember this. I put a shrap on you that you are going to be born as a tree, and you'll remain so. So immediately now, better sense prevailed. She started to beg, God, if you put me as a tree, I will never be able to uplift myself to come back to this human form. Dodo Mela says, alright. I am sitting here praying to Krishna. Krishna is Kriparaj. He is the God of mercy, King of mercy. He would forgive you. So when he comes years from now, time from now, remember time is ongoing, he will come on the earth. You will support him, you will be together with him. But in my puja, in my worship, you will not be welcome because of this interruption. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. For the persons that don't understand this, if this is new to you, please follow me. This is Radha Devi, Lakshmi Devi, Sita Mata, Parvati Mata, Saraswati Mata, Kali Mata. All great Devis and all embodied in Murti form. But Tulsi is in a shrub or a tree form. How come we don't have Tulsi? We have Ganga Mata who is water, but she's riding an alligator. And many examples of that. Nagin, you name it. Indrani, everybody has a Murti form or some construct. But Tulsi, when we have Yagya, the Bedi, Chausat Yogni, Tulsi Mata, Lord Shiva, Lingam Baba. But Tulsi is always depicted as a tree. How come? If she's so purifying, she's so all these things, why is she talking about in the Vishnu discourse, Bhagavad Puran, the root, the shoot, the flowers, the stem, the wood of the Tulsi plant? It's so purifying. Make chandan out of that Tulsi stick and you gain blessings. Burn the body with Tulsi wood, you'll gain blessings. Because in a different instance, she got a shrap. And just as you hear about the nakedness, when Krishna is in the Damodhara form, where he's tied with the mortar and the pestle and he go and he pull the tree and he stretch and all that and he free Nala Kubara and Manigriv. Nala Kubara, another example of two individuals who was frolicking in water, naked as they're born, And the money pass and he see them and he give them shrub. And they were born as two trees. Why two trees? Why trees? Why Tulsi tree? Why in today's is called the two trees? The nakedness. In this life, you spread your arms and you show your body, your fruits that God gives you, things that supposed to be out of modesty covered. But you advertising for children to understand. So how you live, how the karma you perform, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. You live like that, okay? In your next life, you will be that. Spread your branches wide and let all your mangoes be on display for everybody to see. And work out that karma. So if you did not know about that, understand that happened while she was a young girl. Your mother didn't want you to marry, guys, so she not going by the Ganga. Read the discourse if you can find it. Brahma Ganapatika, chapter 46. This is where that is coming from, and it is an example of causality. When you do this, it is going to cause a reaction. This is why she's depicted as a shrub or a tree and not as a murti, as Tulsi Devi or Tulsi Mata. Every other form has, this murti form except for her. And this is why if you're doing Ganesh Utsav or Ganesh Jayanti or Ganesh Chaut, you will not see the Tulsi plant in the procedure. Or when I was younger, I mix the Panchamrit. Don't put it Tulsi, Baba will put it. Because what they do in the puja, offer one by Ganesh, the first Pratam Puja, the first Devta, and then you put the Tulsi leaf after you finish with it, and everybody else will get it. If you, when you mix in it, you put the Tulsi plant and you offer it to Ganesh Baba, you lose merit. It is an inappropriate gift to give him. If some pundits will tell you, mix, and that's a shortcut. Some other pundits will tell you, mix a separate Panchamrit for Ganesh Baba, and then mix the one with the Tulsi leaf to offer for everybody else. But I'm just being practical now. In the example of why long time pundit, I would say long time pundit told you, do you don't put the Tulsi leaf? I will put it. This is why. This is where it is coming from. And this is why on Facebook you had that post about do not offer Ganesh Baba the Tulsi plant. So imagine, based on what we hear tonight, if a person is going through all forms of hardship, different forms of difficulty, how do we overcome it? Go find your Bhagavad-gita and get in the habit of reading chapter 4. Is one simple way. There are many other ways. You could perform yagya. You could get up tomorrow and do havan, jap your guru mantra, offer your dar. You could get up tomorrow and feed somebody. You could get up tomorrow and simply say your prayers. Maybe the hands and the feet don't work as they should. Wherever you are, God is there with you. Self-realization is realization that God is with you. And not only in the big pilgrimage place or the fancy temple or the marble murti, He could be the little paper one in your wallet to help you remember that God is there with you. That's all that for you. Truthfully, we don't need them. Truthfully, we have it right. Tomorrow is a day, it's an important day for all of us. As it begins, it marks, it shows a new beginning. Okay, that's fine. Get up tomorrow and do what you can do to help yourself. People who have this faith, people who could control themselves, be disciplined. And you know what? Get up in the morning, I like media, I'll do my Vastu Puja, I'll offer my dar, I'll do a little havan, and then I will endeavor in other things that control the faith. Says a lot about you, and it will redeem you. No matter how bad a sinner you are, it will give you the help you're looking for. Vrindavan Bihari Lala ki Jai. Everybody tonight, I know I went over, I really apologize. I'm glad I get a chance to spend this time with all you. And in all that we are talking about, please bear witness that what our text talks about in Kali Yuga, for example, when we were coming back from India, when we went, no COVID test. And when we were leaving, anybody coming from China and related places, they have to do COVID test. Today, Italy, France, countries are starting to install COVID tests because it is just so much. Maybe we don't want to talk about it, but 41% of all the COVID cases in America is the new XBB variant. I can't remember the full name. And it's bad. It's scary. And for those people that are looking on, the decision makers, people in figureheads, I hope that Trinidad gets on board, all countries get on board, to curb this before we end up with, another unprepared scenario. And it spread, because when this one spread, it will lead to loss of life. It is just that bad. It also means that in this new year, we have to make tough decisions before others make those decisions for us. Be wary of your crowds. Better you wear a mask. Better you sanitize. Better we put some measures in our lives before maybe the government, police, whosoever. We don't want to be regulated, right? We don't want to be forced into doing certain things. Well, maybe we need to make those tough decisions in our family, in our homes. Because the truth is, after this Chinese New Year that is playing off, the travel, it is spreading and it is going to get bad again. How it impacts you is the choices you make now. Truthfully. The school term is coming. Be guided. Don't push your head in the sand and pretend it's not real. It's real. It's real. The choices that you make now will predict how your future is going to be. That applies in this scenario as well. Tonight, as the pundit, forgive me, but if I don't raise the obvious, then I push my head in the sand too. So we read from the text and we chant with prayers, and I hope you remember some about what we talk about. You get up in the morning and you find yourself with your copy of your Bhagavad-gita, go read your chapter 4, if it's just one verse. Do what you could do. But check your mind. Do it with a good heart. And ask God that in this new year, amongst everything that you're praying for, dear God, help me to be a better child. In your eyes, in the way I pray, in the way I believe, in what I do, help me to do better. Principle of Vindravan, Beadilalaki, Jai. I hope all you enjoy this little satsang. I enjoy spending this time with all you, and I look forward to all your messages, your questions, comments, anything you need help with, please send me a message. If you're not in the WhatsApp group, send me a message to add you, and I'll put out the invitation so you can join with the group, so that in the new year you can have access to information like this to make it easier on you. Everybody, as we conclude now, put your hands together wherever you is. Dear Lord, we thank you tonight for this time spent in prayer, and as we approach the time for those of us on this side of the earth, we thank you that we could welcome the new year with your prayer. And we pray for our heart's desires. Different people pray for different things. But dear Lord, we all agree on one thing. We need you and we need your support. Come into my life, into my home, in my business, in my job, and bless me with your grace. Give me a happiness that I'm praying for, goodness, stability. Bring that togetherness. Dear Lord, you know the situation I'm in, and I'm asking for help sincerely. Help me to be a better person. Help me to not be an enemy to my own life and my family. Help me to be a friend to my family. Dear God, you know what I mean? Help me, please. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Everybody, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Principle Bhavana Putra ki Jai, Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai, Vindravan Bihari Lal ki Jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai, Jai Jai, Siddham, Siddham everybody, and from me and the rest of my family, May God bless all you. For those of you waiting for the new year, for those of you that are enjoying that new year already, continue to be blessed and guided in this new year, everybody. May this year coming, your family, please be safe, healthy, happy, prosperous. Please pay attention to the news. Please pay attention to this side. That, we don't want it. I'm not saying nobody wants mass mandates and sanitizing, lockdown, shutdown, none of those things. But be aware of what is going on around you. And you make the best decision that is right for you. Vindravan Viharilala Ki Jai. Sitaram, everybody. Lots of love. Sitaram. Bye-bye.